MetalmanX here, and today we're taking a look at one of the most highly anticipated kits coming out in 2024. This is the Apocalypse. And as always, this review is brought to you by our good friends over at GundamCentralShop.com. Make sure to check them out, the link will be in the description. Same great independent and third-party releases, new website. So coming in at roughly 24 centimeters without the backpack, this is an absolutely gorgeous kit from this company. I don't want to butcher the name, but you are going to get some fantastic articulation out of this kit. The metal frame really helps this kit, especially when it comes to the backpack and being able to hold the weapons. You're not going to have any issues out of that. Now, that doesn't mean to say that there aren't some issues with the kit. There are some fitting issues here and there, and I did end up having to glue the chest pieces, which I wasn't a big fan of, but, you know, it is what it is. We do have some fitting issues, especially on the shoulders, as well as this foot part. There's actually quite a bit of issues with the feet. Those don't want to go together fully. And also, this little foot part on the back always wants to pop off. It actually does get pretty annoying when you're trying to pose it. So keep in mind, though, it's not a big deal. You can pop it right back on. It's just kind of a pain. Aside from that, there are some really great features. A lot of sliding gimmicks to show this glow-in-the-dark inner frame. Which leads me to my first big praise of this kit, in that there's a lot of out-of-the-box engineering. The thought process that went into this, despite some flaws on the outer armor, is really good. So I commend them for thinking out of the box of a lot of the engineering on this kit. You're going to get great articulation in the waist, side-to-side movements. The back and forth is a little limited, but I think that's by design because of the weight of the rings. So those things do get really heavy with everything on it, but we have a really secure connection, and most of the articulation is actually going to be on the backpack part of the unit. It is able to move up and down, which helps you to pose the rings in different ways, and it takes a lot of the stress off the main body of the unit. Going on to some other gimmicks, we do have more sliding gimmicks on the back skirt. Really pretty. I love that they included this, and you can see some of the water slide decals as well on here. You do get quite a lot of them, and they are UV reactive. We have another sliding opening gimmick here on the leg parts, which shows more of that glow-in-the-dark inner frame. And I really do like that they thought about all the different ways that they can have this kit open up. We have some more sliding gimmicks on these little, I want to say, engines on the back. So that slides as you push it up and down. A lot of really nice engineering on this kit again. Turning our attention to the front skirt, we do have another sliding gimmick. I am a little concerned about the pegs of the front skirt. They do seem a little bit tiny. I don't know how else to put it, but I'm kind of worried that if you pull too hard on those, they will end up breaking. Turning our attention back to the articulation of this kit, like I had said earlier, you're going to get some fantastic articulation. The metal frame is sturdy, so you're not going to have issues with holding the weapons. Taking a look at the leg articulation, we have a great sliding gimmick here. I love how all the parts slide. They really are using that to full effect. Now, there are some limitations with this. In the manual, it says not to exceed a certain degree so that it doesn't break. The glowing plastic is a highlight of this kit. As you can see, just in low light, it really does glow. Now, I've exposed this to a little bit of UV light. I mean, it really doesn't take long for it to pick up and get that glow for a little bit. But if it were exposed for a longer time, it will actually glow a lot better. So I've actually done a little bit of experimenting with this. I've exposed it to 3 different light sources: LED interior lighting, natural lighting, and UV lighting. The LED interior lighting did not make this thing glow, but natural light and UV light will. So if you're going to want to use the glow-in-the-dark pieces, I would suggest having this displayed somewhere with natural light so it will glow more effectively. Or if you have a black light handy, you could always use that on your shelf, and when you turn off everything, it will remain glowing for some time. The ring system secures really well using these 3 pegs and slides in really easily. I like how easy it is to get the backpack on. And we can see that articulation being able to adjust the height of the backpack. Now, I didn't try this, but it did appear that it might be compatible with some of the Seed style backpacks as well. And as we can see, almost, let me just fix its legs here. Oh. And as we can see, it can actually stand up even with all the other accessories on it. It can hold its weight and be without the base if you want. The ring system, while absolutely gorgeous on this kit, is where we begin to see some of the bigger issues. While it is super secure in its ring form, when you start to pull it apart and use the articulation of the arms connecting to the backpack, things start to fall apart. It's simply just not secure enough by itself. So if you want to pose it with it pulled apart, you can. Just know that those little arms are going to be very, very fragile. So if you're using it pulled apart, I definitely wouldn't put all the different accessories on there. You're likely to see a little bit of issue. When putting it back together, you see that it's going to use this little hook system. Now you're going to want to hold on to this little triangle-like piece because that's going to help you with the rings as well as the stand. It fits into the hole to help you know that it is secure and help secure that latch. And you're going to go through. I kind of pull them off to make it a little bit easier on me. And then I will readjust the arms later in order to get the pose that I want. So here we can see the ring in what's called its basic form. So the manual has 2 different forms, the basic and the one with all the fin funnels on it. According to the manual, to do that, you're going to take off the little ring green pieces and you'll use these parts, which are articulated, in order to place them on there. This is a bit of a parts former transformation, though I really don't like that, but I have to say it really helps hold everything in nicely. Everything is secure, there's not a lot of issues, but it is kind of a pain to take these things apart, so make sure you get yourself a good part separator. But once they're on there, they are super secure, and the fin funnels will fit right on there. So I love these little fin funnels. They do look absolutely great. They were the longest part of the build, though, because there are 10 of them, but I digress. I mean, who's going to complain about extra weapons? One thing I think I'm going to do with mine that's not shown in the manual is that you can actually fit all 8 of these as well as the green pieces on here together, which I think is going to really help this kit to stand out. Once again, it really is a fantastic kit with just some minor issues. Moving on to the accessories, we of course have the fin funnels. Now the directions say only to do 8, but you have 10 of them. These are pretty articulated. You can get a lot of different combinations out of these. The little blue parts open up. You can separate them. This is a bit of a tight fit, but you know, works pretty well. You can use 2 of them to fit on the staff. And I suggest doing 2 of them. It really does help to balance the weight in the hands, which this is a really cool weapon. I do really enjoy it. One thing I would say is I wish it had something to make it stand out a little more as opposed to the other weapons. So we have these kind of cutlass style beam handles that also fit the fin funnels. A lot of the weapons on this kit really revolve around using the fin funnels. So you can use it like this. It doesn't really stick on with that one, but if you do attach it together with this one, this base seems to hold a lot better. And of course, you can attach these two together. And of course, since these are fin funnels, you do get a selection of these little plastic armatures. They are kind of okay. They have a little bit of issue, but they're little plastic armatures. Next up, we have the beam sabers, which are really neat. I really like those. And as mentioned before, they can actually be stored in the forearms, which I really like that. I don't know why, but I like having storage elsewhere besides the backpack on a kit. Speaking of storage, let's take a look at the included base for the kit. So you got a very, very well done arm that holds everything very well. Remember that little triangle piece, the little arrow? Yep, you're going to use that again. It's going to help you actually push things in and out of place on the base. So this is definitely something you're really going to hold on to. But the question is, where are you going to put it? Especially if you want to change things on the fly. Well, let's take a look at the base. Something that I absolutely adore about this base is not only does it look good, but there's storage. There's a storage compartment for all the little hands and all the little tools that you want. So this is a really great thing that I wish a lot of other companies would do. I would love to have storage built in to the action bases. It really does help out, especially when you have a lot of kits. So for my final score on this kit, I'm going to give it a solid B+. I almost went with an A-, but when looking back at the kit and some of the fitting issues, especially on the chest and with the articulation issues in the ring, I had to knock it down. That doesn't mean that this isn't an absolutely gorgeous kit, but there is always room for improvement, especially when we look at some of the major issues like the chest vents, the back of the feet, and the articulation in the ring system. I will say that this is a kit I would not pass up because a lot of these issues are very minor. And you're still going to get fantastic articulation on a kit that can hold its weapons, hold its backpack, and is generally a really good kit. I'm glad they went with the metal frame for this. The amount of weight on the backpack is definitely needed. The glow-in-the-dark pieces look fantastic. The undergating on this kit is well done. And overall, I think it's a fantastic kit with some minor flaws. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, like, share, subscribe, become a channel member. It really does help me keep these videos going. So we'll see you next time here on MetalmanX Builds.